Guys, welcome out to the shop today. Welcome to part 2 of the Craftsman tiller repair. This thing has been a pretty big chore, a lot bigger than I thought it was going to be originally. I figured I'd be able to pick this thing up for 20 bucks, and there's something stupid wrong with it, and it'd be a super easy fix. But so the fix is easy, but the work to make it easy is a little bit more challenging than I thought, or not challenging, but a little bit more in-depth. So what we got, just to update you guys who haven't viewed part 1 yet, this was a Craftsman rear tine tiller. Came into the shop, and the wheels were locked up. They weren't spinning at all, and we had to break the tines loose. Had a lot of rope around it, and as you can see, there's a bunch of brown grease all over the gears and stuff like that, and it's supposed to be white, I believe, or like a yellowish color. And what ended up happening, I believe, is the seal had broken around the top, and it had just been leaking water right into the system. And you guys can see some more of it over here. Look at how nasty that all is. We gotta get all that cleaned up. But water leaked in here, got all over the chain, all the metal parts, and rusted everything, and eventually broke that chain right there. So we've been working at tearing this apart and getting the chain off. Now we gotta pretty much clean up all the grease and get a new chain on, new seal, re-grease everything, and put it back together. So I went ahead and counted how many links. I need 25 links plus a master link. So I'll just do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. So I'll grind off this one right here and that one, and then I'll put a master link in there, and that should be the correct amount of links that I need for this. Remember to count twice, just to make sure you don't want to have a chain that's too short. So there we go. There's our chain, and we'll be able to hook that master link through and get this back into use. Alright guys, so like I said, look at all this chain that I have left over. If I ever have another project that needs this 35 chain, this cost me just under 20 bucks, and I would have had to spend almost $15 just for the short section, the 25 links. So this was definitely a better option. Alright, so it looks like I need to get that chain hooked around here, and there's another sprocket right underneath here that it needs to be attached to. So we'll probably loop it around and try to get the point where I need to put the master link on right here. And I tried to get off as much grease as possible. There's just a ton of grease on here, and I don't want to spend all day just trying to clean this. So I'm going to go ahead and leave it. There's no big chunks on here anymore, and then I'll recoat it with some fresh stuff as well. So I got this wrapped on here, and we're just going to come from the bottom side and get this worked in here together, if I can. There we go. And then we got the other side of the link and the clip to put on. And the wheels are mainly going to be going forward. So we want to put the clip, so we're going to push this way. That way, if it ever hits anything, it's not going to just pop off. So we'll put it like that. And there we go. Now this wheel setup should spin like it was supposed to whenever we get this back together. And I've also gotten that new seal that I've just laid out just to make sure that it's going to be fitting correct, and it is. It looks like it's a perfect fit. So we'll go ahead and get that other cover put on after some grease gets put in there. As you guys can see, that the transmission is together. It's not completely assembled yet. I just got two little bolts holding it together. A few things I wanted to talk over though is that there was a couple issues that I was having with getting a couple of these spindles and bolts to go right through here, and it's starting to get kind of frustrating. What was ended up happening is I found out that as I was pushing down on it, because I had it laying on its side, it was just actually sliding down on that shaft right there, on the wheel shaft, and nothing ended up lining up. And then the shaft right there that you guys can see right in the middle of the screen, it was sliding all over as well, which was causing a major issue. And my lever right here wasn't going into the correct place then. So pretty much everything kept binding up on me, but I eventually got it worked free and figured out what was jamming everything up. I ended up taking out an extra link out of the chain. I may have counted too many, or I don't know what happened, but it was a little bit too loose for my liking, so I went ahead and took out another link, and everything lined up correct. And now it's pretty much just time for reassembly. There's grease all over. And then when I get this reassembled, we're going to end up taking some silicone. You guys can see there's this gap right here for the seal. You guys can kind of see the seal right in the middle. I'm going to actually put a bead of silicone all the way around this. That way no water can get down in there, and it's completely watertight, hopefully, at that point. But I'm just going to get the rest of these bolts started putting in, and I got to get some anti-seize on that axle, but I just got it resting on the wheel right now so that I can have it upright. Gotten all of the little bolts in the side, and one up here, one on the very tail end, just to get the two halves together. And now we want to go ahead and start reinstalling like the wheels, just so we kind of get the main portion of this all put back together. And then I want to try to get it pressure washed off so we can get all the grease off and stuff like that. But for the wheels, I'm also going to be putting on some of this anti-seize, because I don't want to have to run into this or have anybody else run into this again. And this would have been nice to have right from the factory, but you know, they didn't want to spend that extra 50 cents on putting some anti-seize on these axles, so I'm going to now. Let's see here. And I gotta get this one over the lip. It was really hard to get it off this very end. I might have to use a sledgehammer to get it started. So we also have this back tine portion that needs to get placed back on here. And same thing with this. We're going to go ahead and put some anti-seize on here. I don't want to have to ever revisit this and not be able to get this off. And there's a lot on there. I do realize that. I'm putting a ton of stuff on there, but like I said, I don't want to come back to it. So let's see here. This, let's go like this. I want to put it just like that. There we go. Putting in the clip right now so that all this is connected good and solid. Maybe, yeah, there we go. Okay, it's all on now. All right, one step closer. All right, guys, so we got the wheels on, the tines are on. And before we go any further, I want to go ahead and make sure that all my gears are going to work, because if this doesn't work, there's no point in going any further. We'll have to tear it all back apart and see what's going on. So right now we are in a neutral position, so we should have only the wheels turning because none of the gears are locked in. So we are good right there. And the other thing that I'm looking for is to make sure that this shaft right here is not spinning. So we'll go into reverse. And we'll see if it... Alright, so that shaft is turning now. Now we should be in just forward. That shaft is turning again, no tines. And the last but not least one is the forward with the tines. So we're all the way forward. Now we should be able to see the tines moving as well. And there you go. So now that we're all good, I'm going to go ahead and get this pressure washed real quick so it's a little bit cleaner to work on. And then we'll put everything else back together. Well, it just came in from being pressure washed, and it got a lot of the dirt out from around all the tines, all over the sides. It cleaned it up very nice. And now we're just ready for the rest of the installation of all the parts. I still got to work on this tire right here. It is not wanting to stay sealed, so I may be buying a tube to put in this one. And luckily I put the anti-seize on it so I can get this one back off. If I try to seal it again and it's not going to hold, I can throw a tube in there. But I'm going to go ahead and start with the rear covers, or the tine covers right here, and get all that stuff reassembled, and then just keep on working at it. The right size. Let's go on. And this goes right there. We need 2 half-inch ones. washer. Oh, excuse me. Alright, so now we gotta get the main tin just pretty much attached back onto the frame, and that should be fairly easy. It's just a couple of bolts and nuts. Oh, I almost had it. There we go. We're almost finished putting this back together. We still have a few more bolts that need to go back on, but I'm not going to put it on until after I know 100% that this is going to run correctly, just because there's no point in doing that, if you know what I mean. There's no point in getting something all completely put back together if you're just going to have to put something right back apart. So we're just testing out a few things. One thing I know that's not going to work correctly is this carburetor. It is leaking, but wanted to just get this back on so we could see if this would fire up. Like I said, the tire is not even on anymore. With all the weight on there, it just completely collapsed right off the rim. So I haven't started it up in about 2 weeks, and everything looks like it's operating correctly. The drive or the pulley for the tines looks like it's running right. So we're gonna fire it up in here and just see what happens, see if it'll run, see if the tines will run, and all that good stuff. Now there is going to be fuel leaking out of here, but I'm not worried about that at this point. We need the fast on. We get some hearing protection on because it's going to be loud. Choke on. Oh, come on. You got fuel? No, it doesn't. There you guys have it. We have a working, running tiller now, which came into the shop. Got it out of a little lot deal, and this was $20, pretty much. So I can't even remember what all I've done to it. You guys have seen it. Oh, the chain. That's right. Tore out the transmission, put in a new chain. Have a few more items that I need to put on here. Need to install a new tube into the tire, new carburetor because it's leaking fuel, so let's turn that fuel off. But yeah, that's the Craftsman tiller right there. So I'm not sure what I want to do with this one, either sell it or keep it. We are trying to have a garden this year, and this is a pretty decent little tiller, so I'm gonna probably end up keeping this one for the price that I paid on it, and I don't really have anything else into it. I need to get a tiller or a tube and a carburetor, and this thing will be good to go for a long time as long as it stays out of the weather. Need to seal up the top still. Forgot to get that done, but man, this was a quite a bit of a chore, and great outcome. Let me know what you guys think. Leave it in the comments down below. Any questions, comments, leave those down there too. And thanks guys for watching. If you guys are new, hit that subscribe button. We'll see you guys next time.